And now I would request the moderator of this session, the very dynamic Satish Lakharaju, Managing Director, Agility, to come over and take over his show.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all. I think the organizers have given me a little task that how hungry I can keep you before the lunch session happens. So either it's easy to do a session post-lunch sometimes when people are sleeping, or to keep you awake in this session. The track reads Digitalization Opportunities and Challenges. I think the way I want to look at this session is that if you look at the amount of paper that has been spent today in printing, probably if you would have had a single app which would have had all the information, would have been a brilliant opportunity that was lying before us, rather than probably printing hundreds of papers, because you can do an event where you can change the schedule, because currently I have one speaker who's replaced by the other. In digitalization, you would have probably put the new name and just updated it, and you would all had it on your system. Could be an ideal way of running a digitalization opportunity. In respect to challenge, there are plenty, because it's a mindset per se, because today if you see, people spoke about blockchain, why in India blockchain cannot come, there are multiple reasons for it. We also spoke about the challenges in terms of the lack in trust that lies in the whole process of digitalization. Because it's a question of sharing your data, and how many of us are really happy to share the data. Because if you go to a ladies' kitty party today in Delhi, I think there's a larger trust factor where the lady trusts that next time when she comes back, she'll still get her kitty. But when it's coming to sharing your customs data, probably that trust factor does not exist. Okay. So these are some of the discussions that we will be revolving around in the session today. So I'm blessed to have a panel which is very experienced. So we've got Kunal. So may I request Kunal from Qatar Airways to please come forward onto the stage. So a big round of applause for Kunal Bhatt, please. We've got Mr. Denny, who's come all the way from Indonesia. So may I welcome Mr. Denny in this place when we have Corona. Mr. Ajit Pai from Delivery, please, who's the Chief Operating Officer. A big round of applause for him as well. Anisha Bharadwaj from Twill. Can we have her up? We are expecting Mr. Amber Dubey as well to join us at any point of time. Yes, she's here. Amber, straight on to you. You know, freight forwarders are used for last minute surprises, so I have a twist in the story now. So over to you, Amber, if you probably want to go straight as a guest of honor from. So a big round of applause for Amber, please.
Thanks so much, Satish. Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, friends, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. Very good afternoon. I'm sorry I couldn't come for the morning session. Actually, just talking to our good friend Cyrus Kadgara. Wednesday is the Raj Sabha day, and Thursday is the Lok Sabha day for aviation. And we all completely bogged down. There's some very great people inside our parliament who ask very interesting questions on your behalf. Okay, and as public servants, you're the public, we are the servants, so we are answerable. I also have some start questions for tomorrow, for which I have to brief the minister later in the afternoon. 4 p.m. I have to be at the PMO. So the idea was not to bore you with these details, but generally my request would be around parliament sessions. Wednesday and Thursday are typically aviation days. The days are allocated per ministry. So it's good if you avoid that, because I would rather be sitting here and listening to all these experts and learning. But unfortunately, I have to just rush, and sorry, I had to just rush from another meeting here because I'm so keen to be here. I'll not take too much time. What I'll do is, let's do some paisa vasool for you. I've got some 15 minutes or 20 minutes to speak. I'm sorry for taking all the glory away from all the senior people here. Okay, let's convert into a question-answer thing. Rather than me giving some speech, anyway, I can't speak on cargo because my good friend and colleague, I think Vandana ma'am was already here. I just met her on the way out. And We generally have a very clear protocol in the ministry. We don't step into each other's areas. What I handle is basically technology, skill development, flying schools, AME schools, and the latest addition is drones. I'm also Vice Chancellor of the Aviation University in Amethi, so I welcome you all to Amethi. That's where we are setting up the Knowledge Hub, Aviation Knowledge Hub. So many CEOs have been so kind. They've come all the way to Amethi. You just land at Lucknow. Thereafter, we'll take care of all your travel, etc. Okay, Lucknow, from there is a beautiful 1 hour, 45 minutes drive through lush fields. You'll get some real clean air, which we as Delhiites always miss here. Okay, and I mean, once you go to that campus, you'll fall in love with that campus. Normally, they've never seen a JS in 35 years, a joint secretary in 35 years. I'm telling you, I've been there 7 times in 3 months, yeah. And I'm a very selfish man. I was born selfish, I die selfish. I will not go to a place if I don't enjoy it. Because nobody's asked me to go to Raebareli or Amethi. It's actually Amethi district. Okay, I go there because I've fallen in love with that place. It's such a beautiful campus created with your money, your money. Now, what the government is saying is, we've done a job. We fought with the finance ministry, the planning commission, or then planning commission in 2012. We got the funds despite all the protests at a time when the economy was not doing very well. And 202 crores of your money have been spent there. Beautiful infrastructure, beautiful campus. There's nowhere will you find a university with a flying club, whereas there's actually a beautiful runway and young cadets, all 18 years old, 19 years old, fresh out of class 12. 240 of them. Most flying schools are just about 20 or 30 or 40 students with 2 or 3 aircraft, okay, with all due respect. This place has 240, 6 times the size of the biggest number 2 flying school. 6 times that, 240 students, young people, young Indians who want to fly your family and my family, maybe just 2 years down the line. And so much energy. Right there is the aviation university also, first of its kind in India, set up again with your money, world-class infrastructure. And I don't want to be sounding like a salesman. Best is, Yash has just been there, and I would rather encourage Yash to speak about it, his first-hand experiences, the quality of the classrooms, the student hostels. And we would encourage you to do your weekend corporate programs. I mean, instead of doing, I mean, this is a beautiful place, and there are many such beautiful places in Delhi. But if you want to save some money, do it in IGRUA, because as a secretary and a minister says, it's your property. The government has done its job by setting up the university. But now, this is an industrial university. Okay, so we are not teaching history or philosophy with all due respect or English honors. Whatever we are going to be teaching or are teaching is only related to the aviation industry. So you want to do a cargo program, a drones program, you're setting up a drone school there, we're setting up an AME school there, there's already a flying school, there's an aviation university where we are teaching airport management with the help of GMR. So GMR Academy is the one which is collaborating with us on that program. So in future also, we are most welcome to come down there, see the place. If you are convinced that this is a nice place, a beautiful high-tech aviation center amidst nice wheat and mustard fields, that's the place for a corporate offsite. Take a 2-day break, 3-day break, 7-day break. Okay, bring your team over. A fantastic way to spend your 3 days and then do your training programs. And you can do it at maybe 1/10 of the price of doing it in a nice big hotel in a big city. Okay, I'll stop there. Why don't we just, since I've got 10 more minutes to go, take some questions and rather answer questions than giving a long speech. Absolutely, Tushar bhai.
To know that you're going to handle skill. You know, the skill estimation is 500,000 people. To know that you're going to handle skill. You know, the skill estimation is 500,000 people to handle the growth.
Sir, सवाल बताइए, criticize करिए और सवाल बताइए.
Criticize नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Criticize नहीं करना है. We see an opportunity.
Right.
And how we can join work together.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what I'm saying is the ACFI, we are part of the Skill Council on Aviation, and you know, they are not able to understand what the ACFI is. So I would strongly urge you to set up a sub-council there for the ACFI. And you know, we will
Committee and subcommittee.
नहीं आप वो नहीं समझ रहे वो engineer है
चलो I'll talk. I'm also on the
so
board.
I'm not going to waste your time.
Criticism well taken.
Right, so you set up that subgroup, and
Right.
ACFI is ready to take that you know, challenge to put people there.
Right.
ACFI has already trained more than 3,000 people on a basic awareness cargo. We have now 2-day workshop, which takes a little professional. I would like to do it at your place. Trainer comes from the industry.
Your place, not mine. Your place.
Well,
you paid for it. You're a bigger taxpayer than I am.
Well.
Okay, chaliye. और बताइए.
So we'll do it there, and we want to take your offer.
Please.
And do this 2-day workshop. And it's a ACFI committing to do. It is one
2
workshop.
दिन नहीं आप 10 दिन आइए सर और यश से पूछेगा ये पूरा
No,
एक दिन
Chudi,
spend
yes,
करके आए.
yeah, you got a wrong salesman. so don't worry about it. He's put his pictures with your aeroplanes and all, and
Right.
so, you know, that's kind of, but I want you to be concerned about the skill.
Right.
The amount of skill,
Yeah, yeah.
size what you have, and I don't need to tell you further, you know about
Yeah,
it.
it's a joke. AME schools, Tushar bhai, I mean, he knows 10 times more aviation than I do. AME schools are a joke. I mean, with all due respect, I'm saying that, yeah. Matlab, even in a round table we had at the ministry, some of them, we know that, but when you hear it, it shocks even more. We were told there are people who cleared those 13 modules or 14 modules of DGCA are certified AME. They're roaming around with a DGCA certificate. You ask them where's the aileron, they actually look at the back. You ask them where's an APU, they actually look at the cockpit. Yeah. You ask about a cockpit item, they start looking at the landing gear. Ye haal hai. This we've heard from airlines, from Boeing, Airbus. That's the scale of kacharagiri that is going on here. All that has to be changed now. Flying schools, so now IGRUA, Indira Gandhi Rashtriya Udan Academy in Amethi. Now this is a Sarkari school, so we don't get anything by fudging. There are people who are fudging numbers. 200 घंटे करने होते हैं आपको CPL के लिए. You do about 180 hours and you show 200 hours. You have to do so many hours of solo flying to develop that confidence, because these are the kids who will fly your family and my family. उसको हम मजाक में बोलते हैं डोलो. People are doing dolo in the name of solo, where the instructor is sitting on the back, sitting on the side of the cadet, and on the logbook it's shown as a solo flight to develop confidence, and there is actually a guy sitting next to him, because the flying school guy, private, because it's private, I mean, he's a little worried that अगर उसने कहीं crash wash कर दिया तो मेरा पैसा गया, investigation होगा, license जब्त हो जाएगा, ये है तो यार एक instructor बिठा दो, logbook में entry मत करना. ठीक है? Night flying, long distance flying, all that, there's a protocol in those 200 hours. Okay, a lot of that is not followed. We are going to change all that. There are raids already happening as we speak. I'm going to clean all that place up. और ये तो हो गया सिर्फ flying school और AME, which is slightly regulated, controlled by DGCA. Then there's so many trades, hundreds of other trades, as Tushar Bhai also rightly pointed out, like cargo, ground services, I mean, customer services, even on the retail side, F&B side, which are so critical at the airport. We have just no regulated training programs, which we are all trying to do through the university, set up syllabuses, and start giving diplomas and degrees. Even flying schools, आप देखो कि अगर वो बंदा जो है 10 लाख रुपए महीना कमा रहा है, that guy is still a 12वीं pass, by the way. He doesn't have a degree or a diploma. That's a CPS. That license, of course, is I mean, but at the end of the day, it's like a driver, a refined driver's license. It's still a license. A very highly skilled license gets you huge amount of money. Okay, but it's still a 12वीं pass. If he wants to join the IAS tomorrow or go for an MBA, he cannot apply because he doesn't have a graduation degree. So we're going to change all that. And I'm happy to see Dr. Renu Parmar. She's done a lot of work on IGRUA, on NAU, on the skills side. And we're just reading all your old files and now trying to take it to the next level. So that's a great foundation, ma'am, you've given up. Thank you so much for your service. Next question, please. And I agree with you, Tushar, by the point you raised about AASSC. We just had a board meeting. I'm also now a nominated member. I'm a successor to Dr. Parmar. Yes, things are going to be changing there. Just for your knowledge, we've also hired Dr. KP Krishnan, a very renowned person. He's just retired as a skill development secretary, Ministry of Skill, MSDE, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Very renowned person, PhD from IIM Bangalore, etc., etc. A very passionate person. The moment he retired, on 3 days, on 3rd of January this year, we hired him as a consultant on 1 rupee salary. So he's a very nice guy, very knowledgeable, and he's agreed to come at 1 rupee salary. And he'll be guiding us. We've already done a couple of rounds of meeting. Also, our Aviation Skill Council, because it's such a broad umbrella, an airport is like a mini city. So we actually have 4 other he's brought the other 6 skill councils because he was a skill secretary, the logistics, the retail, the F&B, and the tourism and hospitality. So he's brought all those intervening sector skills councils, which were typically running in silos. And now we have created this task force where we are working with each of these 4. And our first focus is now set up a degree course, okay, on aviation management at Amethi itself. So you're most welcome whenever you want to come to Amethi. You're a guest of the state here. Okay, any other question? Yes, please. ये सुनील साहब खड़े होते हैं ना और डर लगने लगता है यार. थोड़ा आसान सा पूछिएगा अच्छे वाले.
Amar, you know that now you're heading drones. So I would like to know more about drones. Why drone is not much into media, into publicity. There's not much things talked about, whereas next generation is all about drones. Policy, how it's going to be commercialized, what is the opportunity that we have further, because maybe we'll be left behind if we don't.
एक सवाल पूछना था.
Sir, एक ही है. Maybe we'll be left behind, so let us know what is on drone happening.
Okay. Chaliye, I'll try to pack it in. I mean, this is a whole session you can do on drones. Okay, so one of the most exciting, and I'm so privileged and honored to be handling this future. In fact, कई बार हम मजाक भी उड़ाते हैं कि मतलब है ना, in future a name or mocha may be changed to MODO, Ministry of Drone Operations. Because आज से 10-15 साल बाद there'll be nothing called a pilot in a cockpit. In fact, cockpit ही नहीं होगा. There'll be no cockpit. आप बस जाके ऐसी एक बड़ा सा कमरा होगा, 500 लोग बैठ जाएंगे, वो सीधा वर्टिकल उठेगा और चला जाएगा. एयरपोर्ट्स भी हो सकता ना हो, right? Because you don't need now a runway, because you'll have tilt rotor, tilt jets and all that. आप बैठे vertical VTOL बोलते हैं, vertical takeoff and landing. You'll just take off and zup से आपने घुमाया उसको Bangalore की तरफ, आप Bangalore पहुंच गए. So this is the future, and we very safely assume 10 साल 15 साल को बोलने में round figure लगता है ना, that can even happen in 6.5 years. So we don't know. Okay, the pace of growth is so fast. I'm telling you, we'll all be surprised. जो phone आपके हाथ में है, क्या था 10 साल पहले, क्या था 20 साल पहले, और आज का phone देख लीजिए. That's the pace. In fact, we as policymakers and regulators are struggling to catch up with what all is happening. My mailbox and my WhatsApps are flooded with these youngsters, and these are all 18-year-olds, 20 years old. Yesterday we had the training program in Hyderabad, in Begumpet Airport, with the next generation of these drone acharyas. Okay. This was on the next level of drones, which is BVLOS, as we call it, BVLOS. All drones today are allowed only for line of sight, visual line of VLOS. Now, next step is to go BVLOS, beyond visual line of sight, okay, which is where the Amazons and the Flipkarts, etc., Walmarts, etc., will be taking stuff and sending groceries and vegetables right on into your balcony. That's the next level. And the third level would be when they start carrying human beings like us. Okay, so that BVLOS training was yesterday. Those who had applied, we had done through a little filtering, and yesterday some 28 companies had come, 28 consortia had come to Begumpet. They were given technical training, classroom training, then actual drone. They were made to fly drones on the runway. We took some flight, curfew hours, and we actually made each of those youngsters actually operate slightly larger drones also. So it was both practical and technical training. Today's day 2. Unfortunately, I had to rush back because of the parliament session, but that's a great thing happening there. I felt so energized just by listening to the youngsters, the excitement. There were young women, young boys. I'm telling you, that's the future. Okay, now coming to specifically what are we doing? Yes, we came up with CAR 1.0, which at this stage, I can't sit here and criticize our own team. Yes, let's just face it, it's a combined failure, okay? Because let's just face it, ये चाकू की तरह है. चाकू से कहते हैं ना, सब्जी भी बनती है, खाना भी बनता है, गले भी कटते हैं. This technology is so powerful, so far. ये जो 250 ग्राम का ड्रोन है ना, कोई एक पाव का ड्रोन है. This drone can create riots. It can kill people. And I've seen videos with 30-gram drones, pocket drones, which can go and just blast. And these are dark drones. Dark drones as in उसमें ना कोई GPS है ना कोई electromagnetic radio, कोई message, कोई signal नहीं निकल रहा है. It's off GPS. It's just based on photographic imagery and artificial intelligence. I just feed in Sunil Arora Saab when I get angry with him, and just feed his photograph and just release it within a 200 meters radius. It will just hover over you, lock on to Mr. Sunil Arora, and just come in and just got a 10-gram plastic explosive. It just has to explode. That's it. And if I send 50 of these drones, you can imagine what all damage it can do. Kumbh ka Mela hai. You see the big pontoon bridge on which millions of people pass by. These drones are nothing but eyes and limbs in the sky, right? Through those limbs and eyes, I can just take a little snake or a little pataka, a small noisy pataka, not even a bomb, a simple pataka which just falls and just creates a little noise and a smoke. The stampede will kill 50 people, and maybe 500 other people will be maimed for life here. That's the power of a 250 gram ka drone. So people, when I meet some of the intelligence agencies and security agencies, they say, boss, which world are we living in? This 250 gram, 2 kilo, they mean nothing. Technology, and they've shown us some such gory videos that, I mean, a 30 gram, what a damage potential of a 30 gram or 50. You can create riots based on just a simple drone. That's why, while we appear, the closed box, ostrich in the sand, and isko kehte hain LBW dismissal bolte hain. LBW stands for lamenting, berating, whining. So we can go on lamenting, berating, whining against the government, and now I'm on the other side for 3 years only. But I'm there, so I understand that there are other aspects. These people are keeping us very, very safe, you and our families. Right? And these are very hardworking people which work 24/7. There's no Diwali, Holi, Eid, or New Year's for them. So we are working with them. On the map side also, right, we had to put maps with the green zones mapped. What I'll do is I'll just go step by step. What we're doing is, so we realized that this CAR 1 has not worked, because in 13 months, it was launched in December 2018, okay, and in 13 months, we registered 2 drones in 13 months. And then we started this enlistment process on Khichdi Day, 14th Pongal Day, 14th of Jan, and ended it on 31st December. We didn't give an extension because we want deadlines to be respected. Okay, so 31st Jan and 14th Jan. In 18 days, we've registered 20,531 drones. 13 months for 2 drones, and 18 days, 20,531 drones. What we're doing now, so we can't violate our own CAR. We can't come up with a CAR 1.0 and then violate it. So what we're trying to do is other alternate methods without violating the CAR, are the methods to be compliant, yet enable commercial growth in the industry, because we want growth. At a time when there are economic challenges, okay, we cannot allow a growth-oriented sector to stagnate or be shut down because of certain rules and policies that we've written. Rules are written for the betterment of the country and the society and the business and industry, not for other means. Okay, so now what you're going to do is think big, act small, and move very, very small. So the next enlistment is done. Next step is what you call TTM. Next is training. So we're coming up with training modules which will be on the Digital Sky platform. We don't want you to be going all over the place and FTOs, this, that. Come straight to that one-stop shop called the Digital Sky platform where you did the enlistments. You can download the training program. It's a 4x20 rule, as we call it. 4 hours for micro, for nano, and 20 for micro. You do the training. It's an online training. You don't have to go anywhere, and most probably we'll keep it absolutely free of cost, just like enlistment. A lot of people said enlist, take some registration fee. We said no, let's keep it simple, because we want to promote this industry, and people go by facts and outcomes. The fact is that we didn't charge you. Right? Jabki there's a big payment we are making to the third-party agency and IT people and the storage and the server and the et cetera, software and hardware. So next will be training. Again, we might keep it free of cost. So you do 4 hours if you're a nano guy, and if you're a micro, you do 20 hours. After that, we'll do a video test. Video test means you just put the camera on and answer those 20 questions. If you score 70%, you get a digital certificate linked to your DAN. DAN is the drone acknowledgement number. Okay, that's the first T. Then the TTM, next T is the tracker part. So we had this NPNT software, which we all understand has created lots of problems, and I'm sure John later in the day will educate you on that. And also because the Digital Sky is still not enabled to allow that NPNT software to go live, it's a beta version, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're thinking is if you can come up with a simpler tracker software in which you can again go to the same site, again click on it, just enter your DAN, your own number, your ownership number and your drone number, and then you can just download that software. That software, once it's downloaded onto your GCS, the ground control station, will allow the server to track wherever the ground control station is, which is the controller, and the drone, because it will keep on communicating the lat long, altitude, speed, and the timestamp through the GCS, through the GSM chip. GCS, through the GSM chip, like your mobile phone, it will keep on talking to the server. Now you may ask, I mean, a lot of people, Kanha, Corbett, Ranthambore may not have, or some coastal area may not have GSM connection. So we are saying, fine, your flight log, once you do the flying, after that the flight log will be in your outbox. And the moment you come closer to a city, as you get your network, like your mail outbox, it will push back, and the server will get the flight log. Did you actually fly within that Lakshman Rekha, which you yourself marked out on the Digital Sky map? So it will be a simple map on which you just mark out wherever you're standing and some 500 meters radius, because these drones can't fly too far or too high or too long. So just mark that out. Automatically, that map coordinates go to the server. The server gives you an FPN, a flight permission number. Once you get that number, you're free to fly. Please fly, have fun, make money, and pay 18% GST. So once you've done all that and you bring your drone down, automatically the flight log goes to the server and you're ready for your next flight. But unless that flight log is received by the server, you will not get just like your Ola, Uber, you will not get the fresh flight. So that's the TTM, the tracker part. Third is the map. Map is very critical. Over last 1 year, the ministry, DGC have been struggling with the security agencies, with the state police, lots of security agencies, which I'm getting to know now. There are lots of 2-letter, 3-letter, and 4-letter words, which I didn't even know existed. There's something called a MA to PM, Military Advisor to PM. It's only when I met him that I realized General Khandare, great man, great service to the nation. And they have a whole army of people working there to keep us safe here. And he works with the NSA's team. So lots of these people, when I see some of the videos and some of the presentations, you realize how risky this technology if you just let it flourish without control. So on the maps part, we are very close. I hate giving deadlines because then you unnecessarily raise expectations. I would rather show an outcome on facts and outcomes than making grand statements. So we are very close to an agreement with Intelligence Bureau, some of the state agencies, and Survey of India to come up with the maps and mark out just, as I said, think big, start small. 6 cities, we have finally agreed with Intelligence Bureau that to begin with, just to get this damn thing started, pick 6 metros and just create 6 green dots, small green dots. We said, based on all the red dots that we've got, lots of red dots from, say, Haryana police or, say, Delhi police or whatever. So just around Delhi, north of Delhi, close to the Sonipat border, there are lots of green areas which you'll see as you cross the Delhi border. Or similarly, Navi Mumbai, beyond Panvel, etc., or Hyderabad or Bangalore. Everywhere as you go away from the city, there will be lots of green areas where there may not be any sensitive installation or an industrial installation. we are saying, amidst all the red dots that you've given us, can you just mark out a small area, just 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer, और उससे भी छोटा कर दो भाई उसको 5 kilometer by 5 kilometer, 25 square kilometers का हमें एक green dot दे दो around Delhi, Mumbai and the 6 big cities, and we then designate that as a green zone. Rest of India on the digital sky map will look absolutely black, but you'll just have these 6 bindis, like 6 dots on the forehead. Okay, and you can then go there and then operate. Please have as much fun as you want. The panchayat and the kisan and the farmers will actually be very happy. They might charge you $100 per hour or $200 an hour. And imagine if 500 people on a Saturday, Sunday, 500,000 or 2,000 people use it. The guy will actually leave farming and convert his farm into a bright drone school or a Saraswati drone club or something and mint money. Okay, and he's happy, you are happy. So this is how we'll start, and then gradually with Intelligence Bureau we'll work and increase the size of that green dot and increase the number of green dots. From 6 cities, then we can go to 18 cities, 20 cities, 30 cities, and gradually we'll cover the whole of India. So in a nutshell, I know this whole thing takes almost 3-4 hours to discuss, debate, and take criticism and ideas and then work on it. But I'll just try to bring, give a very short answer to a very long question about drones, that yes, things are happening, and this whole TTM method, first we did the enlistment, we did the training, next is T is the tracker part, fourth is the map part, and once that is done, we are good to go. So we start with small green dots, 6 green dots around 6 cities, that's it, and then gradually expand. And what else? And BVLOS have anyway spoken about, that's the next frontier. And the third frontier, final frontier, is carrying human beings as payload, but we are still some time away. The West is anyway working. The other good thing I will also share with you is that on the traffic management, because see, ultimately these drones can fly anywhere from 100 feet, very low level airspace, right up to 65,000 feet. Okay, and in between there is this little panga that we do with the regular commercial flying. So for that also, there is a task force which is working on it. The other update I would like to give you is, also on the rules part. Now CAR, most probably the CAR 1.0 will gradually get faded out. What the secretary has decided is that we'll convert this into a rule, because see, the CAR is more of a local, from a regulator's regulation. Rules is from the parliament. So we'll give it more teeth, if it can even fine and even go and arrest people if something goes wrong. So that power only comes from parliament. Okay, so it has to be the part of the act of the rule. We'll not put it in the act, Aircraft Act, but Aircraft Rules 1937. A lot of people complained that anyway, sir, we can just copy paste the car, but he said no. Our secretary said, look at the people who are using it. So it's all going backwards from the industry, and this is based on feedback from these youngsters. They're saying, see, with Aircraft Act and rules, it's easy for the airlines to handle it, airlines, airports, because they have tons of lawyers, legal advisors, chartered accountants, etc., big admin teams. But these youngsters who are actually our end customers in drones, okay, they are 2-member, 3-member, 5-member teams here. They're using their own savings, or if they don't have savings at 25, they're using the father's savings here. Okay, so these people don't have large teams of lawyers and chartered accountants, so make a self-contained chapter. So a lot of people protested, but now every day at 3 p.m. there's a separate task force on the legal drafting. So rules are being drafted in which it will be a self-contained chapter, so you don't have to do this hereinafter, read this clause, that clause, notwithstanding all that legal, with all due respect to our legal friends, but sometimes they have 9 sentences in the place of 1 sentence. So 9 sentences get combined into 1 sentence. By the time you reach your 4th or 5th sentence, you actually don't know where you started. You started in Lajpat Nagar, you ended up in Rohini, whereas you have to go to Noida. So this will be a self-contained chapter in which a lot of sections they said, oh, we had to copy paste. The secretary said, please go ahead and copy paste, but make it a self-contained chapter so that the youngsters, our future Narayan Murtis, this is a Narayan Murti moment, the future Narayan Murtis, we don't want to waste time reading rules, and because these are nice guys who want to comply with every rule, pay every tax that is required. So we're trying to make that easy and easy. So I've covered about practical things, about training, trackers, maps, rules, and BVLOS, which is the next. I'll stop here, and I'm happy to chat, or just drop me. I mean, you have my numbers. Please WhatsApp me. I'm very active on WhatsApp. Don't send me emails, because emails are there's just 500, 100 emails. It'll get lost somewhere. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Amba, that was like a jet speed, quick wrap-up. I think we need more time from you, but I'll request Mr. Tushar Jani to please come on stage and present the memento to Mr. Amba Dupe. A big round of applause for Amba to take out time, which also shows what happens when people from the private sector enter into the government. There's a lot of momentum that comes in. think back to the track, we've got now some amount of time reduced, but I think it was important to have this track. So quickly, not delaying the whole proceedings, maybe Kunal, if you quickly want to come up with your presentation before we set the other presentations. Over to Kunal.
So good afternoon, dear friends and respected colleagues from the industry. Thank you. I've got two devices, a tablet and a mobile phone, because one battery is running out. So that happens with digitalization and digitization. This is a very, very special moment for me as I give you this address. I started my career in the 90s in Delhi at the Air Cargo Complex. Not many people know this. I started with KLM Cargo. It has been a good, solid 20 plus years of a very good foundation in this industry. And I'm extremely thankful that the seed of my journey with air cargo was planted in this very city. So thank you, ACFI. Thank you, Tushar. Thank you, Yash. And the entire cargo fraternity of India, especially Delhi, where I stand today, for giving me this opportunity. It's been an amazing journey for the last 20 plus years. Digitization to digitalization, it's a tongue twister. We've heard this in the morning sessions. From an airline's perspective is what I'm going to present to you today. My presentation is divided into a few sections. I will begin with some quick facts about Qatar Airways Cargo, not to bore you, you all probably know all of it already. And then I'll dwell into why digitalization is so important for our industry. Why do we need to change? And if we need to change, and if we need to digitalize, what are the steps that we need to take to get us there? So let's dive in straight away. Sometimes the remotes don't work. Yeah, so a very modern fleet of aircrafts. We are one of the largest freighter carriers today in the industry, which brings it with its own challenges. Becoming the largest presents a need to take a leadership role in a lot of industry initiatives, and digitalization is one such initiative. Expanding fleet and an ever-expanding global network. Some of our products. Around all this, we have an investment in facilities to cater to the expansion that we are going through. And our vision. So our vision is that we want to be moved by people. We want to be world's #1 air cargo carrier, not only in size or scale, but also customer preference, reliability. And all this comes with a lot of digitalization. This is what the customers are requiring today. That's the demand from the customers today. So before we begin, let's see what digitalization is all about. To us, it is an enabler of business. We have the typical roles of sales, operations, customer experience, revenue management. Digitalization is what gives a substructure or a foundation to all these units to go out there and to be able to perform their work in a faster way, in a more efficient way, remove redundancies, remove layers of processes, etc. So I love my next slide, which is this one. So the aircraft should be flying, actually, but it's not for some reason. I call it the wind beneath the wings. Digitalization is what is going to give the wind beneath the wings, the wheels of the bus, the tracks of the train, for our industry in the future. Let's take a moment, and I do this in all the sessions that I present this thing to. I reflect back on where we have come, where we were 20 years back, because I'm from the business. It's a different thing that today I head up the digitalization and innovation space for Qatar Airways Cargo. But let's reflect. On my first day when I joined KLM Cargo in 1998 March, this is what I used. You must have seen these machines. This is called an Oki printer, and the screen used to be black with fluorescent fonts with a return and a stop button in these terminals. We used to send telexes to each other. So this was the era of the Sita text, the telexes that we used to send to each other. Not so long ago, it was just 20 years ago. Then started the digitization era. So digitization is the conversion of messaging into digital format, which becomes part of digitalization, which is a journey by itself. Then came the cargo IMP. We moved on to the birth of e-available was in the next decade or so. Airlines started adopting Java-based user interfaces. Many of you would know this. This was the first step towards digitization that our industry embarked upon. By this time, our passenger colleagues were far, far ahead. They had already embarked upon e-tickets and paperless transactions. Next, we said, let's improve our messaging. So we embarked upon XML. We started mobility solutions. So most of the airlines then had apps for customers to do track and trace, availability search, schedule search, and so on and so forth. This is the advent of the digitalization journey, as I said earlier. Where does this lead us? What is in future? With this will come a lot of data that we'll have to manage. And hence, as Tushar also mentioned rightfully in the morning, it will bring the need for robotic process automations, artificial intelligence. As Yash mentioned in his address, APIs, systems need to talk to each other in future. There will be no manual interactions. We all know in this room that our industry is still very personal. We still like to pick up the phone, we still like to send the emails, but we can still see opportunities to make processes which can be redundant, for example. So this is the landscape today, and the future looks very bright. So I think we need to look back, and we can be very proud of ourselves of where we've come, the journey we've taken over the past 25 years or so, where we started with those, I call them the rat-a-tat machines because they used to make a rat-a-tat sound when we used to punch telexes. From where we've started and where we've come. Why do we need to digitalize? You saw this in the morning in the presentation. Why do we need to digitalize? What do these symbols tell us? What is the sign here? In our day-to-day lives, we use this a lot. It gives us ease of doing transaction, ease of doing business. Everything is an app on a touch screen. The adaptability to our customers. It's omni-channel, as I said. You can still do a phone, you can send an email, or you can use an app, or you can go to the website. So it's omni-channel depending on the customer. I have people in my office who are not savvy. They still want to use Excel sheets. Some of them are not savvy with computers, but then these kind of solutions cater to them as well. It's about transparency. We are getting used to a lot of transparency. I want to have complete visibility on all my solutions. And it's the now factor. I want things now. A customer will send me a request, or to my system, a request for a rate, and he would want a response within 5 seconds. What used to happen a few years ago is, hello, Rohit, yes, what, you want cargo from Delhi to Amsterdam? Let me check with my team and come back to you in half an hour. Those days are gone. So it's the now factor, ease of doing business. And of course, we all want array of options. This is what the Amazons, the Zomatos, the Airbnbs, Expedias of the world have gotten us used to. So if this is happening in our personal lives so much, if we are becoming slaves of technology in a way that we cannot operate without our mobile phones, we have to adapt. Our industry has to adapt to these new standards of working, or the new ways of working. It starts with a leadership mindset. If we want to transform, We must empower, we must have a vision. We must disrupt, but we must have the right balance while we disrupt. So if we want system and system to talk to each other and give a rate code back within 5 seconds, we cannot disrupt the legacy of having a manual interaction in our industry, which is so very important. That's relationship. The next few slides will talk about digital transformation, very, very relevant to our industry. What are the steps, typical steps of transformation? You first strengthen the core. You establish a very solid foundation for yourself on which you can actually construct better things. So you need to have a very robust operating system. You must have basic messaging capability. You must have very basic analytical skills to work with data, small sets of data. On that, you strengthen the core. Once you have established the core, you get advanced data analytics, you have apps, you get mobility for your customers, so on and so forth. And then, once you have transformed, you go into disruptive age where you leapfrog. You want to disrupt, you want to get into things like blockchain, advanced data analytics, RPA, artificial intelligence, smart facilities, so on and so forth. In our space at Qatar Airways Cargo, we have embarked on this journey, and we are somewhere on the dark gray, beginning of the dark gray box. In 2015, we went live with our in-house operating system called Chromis. That was the foundation. On that, we adopted XML standards, which was, again, a very basic, strengthening the core kind of an initiative. We gave an app back to our customers. We started e-available and e-freight. Now we are 85% e-freight in the network and 99% out of our hub. But again, our volumes of e-available out of India are exponentially high, and we thank you for your support for that. On strengthening that core, which was about 4 or 5 years ago, we started transforming that core. So we integrated a mail scanning solution in our system. We embarked upon a data warehouse project, now looking at data lake, because data warehouse was not available at that time. Transactional app for our employees. So internal. So innovation can be external and internal. We need to transform internal as well. And of course, things like 3D palletization and the picture that you see on the top is about Internet of Things. We put beacons in our cool facility, temperature control facility, to measure excursions of temperature going up or down. And where we are today is the beginning of the leapfrog stage. So now we have a lot of data, we have transformed the core. We want to get to the next level. We are working on proof of concepts with IATA. We are working on proof of concepts on robotic process automation. As I said, data lake is something we're going to deploy this year. So work in progress, but this is where we see ourselves as today. How do we get there? Our industry, I believe, is very, very complex, and I'm sure you will all agree with me. We have too many stakeholders, too many documents that we need to digitalize, about 25 of them, if I'm right. Stakeholders like shipper, consignee, regulator, airline, GHA on one end, GHA on the other end, so on and so forth. The only way we can do this going forward is to collaborate. We are working very, very closely with some of you in the room, also with IATA, to collaborate and make things happen for the industry. Co-create. Again, along with our forwarding partners as well as suppliers, we are constantly co-creating. One record, e-available, XML is some examples. And if you all are not familiar with the one record concept of IATA, we can walk you through in the break later. And I urge you to look at that because that's the next big thing coming in the industry. The third C is that while we co-create and collaborate, we must challenge ourselves all the time through the journey. Is this good enough? Can I make this better? Do I really need to talk on the phone? Do I really need the email? Why can't my systems communicate with each other? How can I put controls around it? And the biggest around all the three C's is the fourth C, is the ability to accept that change. Very often in our industry, I've seen people say, no, no, we've been used to this process for the last 15 years. You don't come and tell me that I need to digitalize or automate. This is not how our industry works. But no, let's embrace the change. Let's at least be open to accepting the change. Because Mr. Darwin said that the one who succeeds is not going to be the fastest or the most intelligent, but the one who's going to be most adaptable to change. This is a fact. While we do this, just a word of caution. Regulatory and compliance is utmost importance. So once we can embark on a digitization or digitalization journey, automating journey, but not at the cost of safety and security. ACC3, GDPR, PLACI, screening, and it's getting more and more stringent. So whatever we do, in fact, digitalization can enable this space as well. We can support this. So parting note, let's innovate. It distinguishes a leader between a follower. So let's all of us pledge today to become leaders in our own right. Let's take this absolutely forward and make a change in the industry. And we are with you as Qatar Airways Cargo in that journey. So I wish you all a very delightful digital journey ahead. And as the tagline in this podium says, together we can, and I'm sure we can. Thank you.
Thanks, Kunal. Quick thing you mentioned about the 4 C's. I think we as a freight forwarding fraternity or the cargo industry revolve around the word C called cargo, carrier, custodian, cash flow, compliance. Our life revolves around the C's, and then if you ask the sales guy, he's got his 4 C's of current, competitive, complete, conversions. I think so C becomes a big important aspect of our whole journey really, and I think this change is going to be very, very important. So now I'll request Denny to come in and give his perspective on the same subject, and keeping in mind that you're between the lunch now and we've got 2 more people to go. So just a word of caution.
First of all, I would like to thanks to ACFI for inviting me to this great event. So I think this is my first time in front of you all. So I'm coming from Indonesia. So we are part of the government company. Basically, we are the operator for 19 airports in Indonesia. So right now, I think if you go to Indonesia, we have 16,000 islands. And we have more than 200 airports in Indonesia. And commercially, 100 airports that we are targeting to operate for the next 15 years, because this is the target from our government. Digitalization. So I think nowadays, industries, we are talking about the airport, we are talking about the forwarders, I think airlines, is starting to implement the digital transformation. If you don't do the digital transformation, your customers, your regulators, your competitors will do. Then you will left behind. I think there is no right solution for digital transformation at this moment. I think this is something new for everybody. When you are referring to IoT, AI, blockchain, virtual intelligence, so I think all the corporation is trying to adapt with this new technology. As for us, for the airport, especially for company that I run, is managing the cargo terminal in 19 airports. So this is something new with us, and we've been started, and we are about 3 years ago. So a few things that I can share, trial and error. So which one is good and which one is maybe good for the future. In my presentation. First, why digital airport is important? There are objectives that we would like to achieve. First, of course, we are talking about the operating efficiency improvement. Every customers, every airline want the visibility. They want the tracking. Right now, I think if you're talking to some of the, let's say, user, the freight forwarder, a lot of them is missing the tracking system within the airport. For us, in Jakarta or in the airport that we operate, there are 4 stages handling in the airport, from regulated agent into the warehouse operator, into the ground handling, and into the aircraft. And our customer doesn't have the tracking. They don't have the visibility. There are many cases that some of the customer in the system, when they see the system, the cargo is uplifted, and they inform the destination that the cargo is there. But actually, the cargo is still left behind. This is what happened in the domestic right now. Then also reducing loss opportunity. The problem that we are having right now, because of there are so many regulations from the government for the importation of the good, is the dwelling time. For us, as the operator, dwelling time is something good for us because we are making money from the dwelling time. Just for your information, right now, over in Jakarta for the import, our dwelling time is 4 to 5 days because of the regulation. But in fact, if you look at the current situation, especially for the e-commerce company, there are many customers in Indonesia importing the e-commerce good from overseas, which is they want the same day. And unfortunately, our regulation is not really up to that yet. So that's why a lot of feedback that we need to give to the government to change the regulation which in line with the development of the e-commerce. And the other thing also, when we are talking about the digital transformation also, is creating the revenue stream. When you try to put everything in digitalization, of course, first thing, how to monetize. This is something not easy, because we are thinking that monetizing digitalization is very simple, but the thing is, a lot of stakeholders that you need to talk, yeah? Everything that you put into the system, there is a cost. You need to think about the revenue, the investment, the ERR, and how to monetize the customer. So the issue is not just the technical, but actually the socialization. This is something that very challenging in the future. Okay, I took this from BCG. Actually, we engaged with the BCG analysis. Previously, we are talking about the hard infrastructure. All the money, all the investment is to put up a new warehouse, new terminal, new system. But if we look at now, actually not just the hard infrastructure that we are focusing, but also is the soft infrastructure. And to us, also there is a challenge, since we are managing 19 terminal cargo and 19 airport, is how to connect within one airport to any other airport. I took some of the pictures. This is the example that I have visited. I went to Dubai, I went to Hong Kong, Singapore, and this is the picture of our cargo right now. And our customer, very demanding. So the customer right now want everything from mobile apps, so they just open the mobile app, and they want us to provide the service. For example, we have what we call human remain. So the customer want us to handle the human remain. They want us to set up the lounge for the human remain, for the cremation, and so on. What they want to do is just to book online, so everything is up to us. This is one of our challenges. Then the other thing is the queuing system, and also the personal effect. There are many personal effects coming to Jakarta, and actually our warehouse is not designed for personal customer, but it's designed for B2B customers, where they have the contract with us. So what we do right now, we have to provide the personal effect lounge, so where the customer, they know their incoming cargo, so they book into the mobile apps. Then the rest is our job, is to collect the cargo from the warehouse, then put in the lounge, then the customer come and collect, or we deliver to them. And the other thing that we would like to highlight also is to connect it within the airport. We still see some problem. One, the airport to the other airport is in a very different system. So we are not connected to the airline, we are not connected to the customs, to the authority. Long-term challenge in the airport is divided into three. Yeah, first, of course, the demand. The demand depend on the economic of the country. Yeah, depend on the security, depend on also on the safety. And the second is the airport transport supply and how the supply adequate with the space. And the third thing is the airport infrastructure, which is require huge investment. You need to think about the ERR, when the return of the investment, then the government liability, and the future technology. And actually, the short term that we are facing right now, the challenge, first of all, is from the stakeholder. We operate the airport, we need to talk to the government, we need to engage a lot of group discussion, B2B approach, because a lot of the new, let's say, for example, from the e-commerce, there are no regulation from the government yet. So we have to inform, we have to do a workshop, give the input to the custom, to the authority, for them to provide the regulation. If not, we cannot manage, or we cannot handle the cargo. Then also regarding the investment, this is the short challenge. When you talk to the shareholder, whenever you do the investment, of course the shareholder will ask for the return. When you ask for the return, it's very not easy to calculate, because everything you invest, you need to charge the customers. We know that the airline, we know that the forwarder, they're asking us to reduce the price of the warehouse. Yeah, so there is no more cost, and even they ask us to do a free job. But the thing is, and how we calculate and how we return the investment and how we monetize, that's the very important thing. That's the challenge that we have. This is from expert. There are few emerging industry trends, such as technology implementation. So you need to change your business model. As for us, we need to make our airport as the transportation hub. Yeah, either for domestic and also for international. For international, we need to make our airport to become the transshipment hub. It's happened in Bali, and we want to happen also in Cengkareng. But the thing is, regulation is not supporting us at this moment. Even though we have the system that we can cooperate with other airports, but regulation is not really up to that yet. Then innovation and also technology. Okay, this is a bit about us. We are a government company. There are two major operators. It's Airport Angkasa Pura I and Angkasa Pura II. So we are the Angkasa Pura II. And this is the airport that we are managing through all Indonesia. So all the big island, we have the airport there. We put a lot of investment. For example, just last year, we put about 1 billion US to do the infrastructure as well as the soft infrastructure. And the next year will be the same amount, because there will be for another airport that we are going to develop either infrastructure or as the operator. Our parent company, Angkasa Pura II, when we are talking about the strategic growth of the company, so we are going to set up more subsidiary from what we are having right now. Because if you look at the airport, very difficult for you to develop or gain revenue. What we do, we have to do a merger acquisition. So we are going into outside of the airport. We do the acquisition of the logistic company, which can support the volume to our airport. We do the partnership. We go overseas. We went to Africa. We went to Middle East. There are some cooperation that we would like to do in the future, just to gain more revenue and to improve our capabilities. And this is some of the data that Jakarta right now is number 6 from top mega hub in Asia Pacific, and we are ranked of number 16 in the world. And this is the 5 game changer transforming the airport. You need to have a clear strategic positioning, whether you want to become the cargo airport or you want to become a digital airport. As for us, we choose to be the digital airport. You need to aggressive grow beyond your core, not just handling the aircraft or passenger, but you need to go for the retail, you need to go for the logistic and e-commerce, and also the airport city by building the MAH, by building the hotels and other things. And this airport must be connected within one and another. And this is the digital technology, the big data, so I will skip. And I think you are familiar with this air cargo terminal process. And for us, what we want to do in the cargo, we are engaged with one of the company, with the Kale Logistic in here. So we are discussing with them to set up what we call the cargo community network system. So what we want to have a big data, what we want from the regulators, from the customer is linked to our system. So now we are in the process of discussing it, and we hope that we can implement this within 1 or 2 years. This is one of the infrastructure, so I think most of the, what do you call it, from the runway, East Cross taxiway and everything is already up and running. So then this year, next year, we are targeting to set up a cargo village in 90 hectares of land. It's 3 times bigger from currently. Right now, we have done for 8 freighter for the aprons. And this year, we will continue to do the first phase to set up the, the cargo for line 1. And later on, we hope that line 1 or line 2, the e-commerce hub, the cargo for the pharma will be in this new location. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Denny. I think one thing common between both the countries is your traffic and our traffic really match each other. Your complexity in terms of the islands and the connectivity to our Indian complexity in terms of over 400 airports with complexity of the aircrafts as well. So I think the common things thing. So now that we've had Kunal present and now from the airport, I'll request Anisha to bring in a new perspective in this from AP Moller Group on the digital initiatives that they have initiated. But maybe I'll also request her that she's between the lunch and the next presenter and the questions now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Satish, and good afternoon to everybody. I'll promise I'll respect my slot and I'll not take more than 15 minutes. While Mr. Satish introduced me, I was walking and he mentioned twill, and I could see a question mark on everybody, and there was a complete silence in the room. And while I was in the process of settling down over here, I think I was well confident enough that yes, this is a great opportunity for me to have such a platform and speak about TWIL, Immerse Innovation. And so thank you so much, ACFI, I'm so sorry. And thank you everyone out over here. I'll start with what is TWIL. While we speak with our customers on TWIL, we do not, of course, we do not go ahead and tell them it's a digital platform and it will change their lives. What we do mention is that it's a change maker for them. A change wherein we promise that things would go for better to bigger, a change wherein we need to thrive and we need to strive, a change which is going to be the future of the logistics, and a change that will bring a lot of opportunities and challenges. While we speak about challenges, I think TWIL is no indifferent out over there. What we are bringing it to the customers, I will be covering in a quick and a crisp presentation to all of you. The idea. While I mentioned a change, it started with the ambition to change the logistics for better, smaller businesses. Our target audience is SMEs, that's your SME segment, and we are driving ambition remains to enable the SME segment to embrace a change and move forward and giving them the confidence that yes, we can change the international logistics for them. Yes, we have the capability to take care of their cargo from point A to point B. TWIL, it's an international logistics provider for companies who want the change the way the business is done. Our vision and mission. Our vision is a world where product and services can flow freely. It's a seamless execution. Our mission, to be the driver change in the global logistics, wherein a customer can truly have that confidence that yes, you can take care of my cargo, and ensuring that nothing stands in the way when it comes to the international trade. Our customers, very important. The customer segment that we are trying to look after is SMEs and entrepreneurs that want to indulge in international trade and ship their cargo across the world. The one who needs a trustworthy partner, the ones who need that there is a personal care and flexibility, the one who can assure and can have a credibility with us. Our brand positioning. While in the process of setting it up, a TWIL as an innovation or as a product and as a change that we want to tell it to the customers, it is very important that we first conduct ourselves as a brand behavior. Just a second. The way we want to conduct with our customers, we want to have personal, we want to be authentic with our customers, we want to be passionate, we want to be dynamic, we want to be collaborative. We want to have the functional and the emotional benefit. With the functional benefit, we want to have a complete end-to-end logistics solutions that is to be given to our customers. With an emotional, of course, we don't need to be a process-oriented innovation. We really need that we understand the customer pain areas. We understand for where are they coming from. We understand that how the supply chain works for our customers and bring the customized solutions for them. Our audience, as I talked about, these are SME segment who are looking out for a partner who can help them to carry their cargo through international trade. Some of the key features and the services that we are providing it via TWIL, and these are the core set of our business attributes. The one that is there is an online portal wherein there is a lot of paperwork that's been already talked about. So there is one window for the paperwork. There is an intuitive booking system, one click away, and the customer has their booking in the hand. There's a 24 customer service that's been working in 30 languages, and it's an instant and transparent pricing. Service expertise. We have access to wider network of suppliers and ports, and it's a sure shot loading that we're giving it to the customers. It's very important. The cargo can be time sensitive. The cargo can be, obviously, the commodity that it's time sensitive, it's commodity sensitive. We need to take care on all these attributes when we come up with such products. Yeah, so moving on. And so that is how these are the key features and services that we want to give it to our customers. We want them to feel that their cargo is safe, secured with us, and hence these are the services that the TWIL platform bring it to the customers. The functional benefits, very important as to when a customer, when we are, with our interactions with the customer, the only question is to why TWIL, not why other platforms. And thereby we come into the place where we introduce a lot of functional benefits to our customers, wherein one, we are into ocean FCL, we do trucking, rail, and we are into custom clearance and insurance. We deal with the cargo types wherein it is dry, regular, and all the equipment size. The most important functionalities is that the customer looks for a partner who's trustworthy, and there needs to be a lot of transparency when it comes to dealing with their suppliers, buyers, and vice versa. So there is a supplier, so both of the parties can initiate bookings. There is a supplier-initiated booking, buyer-initiated booking. Then they can pre-book, they can book 5 weeks in advance. There are some features which says documentation management, milestone visibility. When we speak about milestone visibility, and when everybody has talked about transparency and how important it is that the customer knows that where the cargo is, if it is a time-bound cargo, and if in any case, if there is any mishap that has happened to the cargo, I think a full transparency can have the customer in that trust within us, that it's safe, secured, and it's been taken care. We have online pricing, as already been covered. The customer cannot wait for a day or two for the prices to get. We have instant pricing available, and we can have customized pricing for the customers also, depending upon what are their needs for. Our further offerings to our customer is we're providing end-to-end solutions, bundled solutions, trucking, rail, custom clearance, and insurance. And the quality that the customer would look us is reliability, flexibility, ease of doing business, and how speedy we are. And at this point of time, in the ocean transportation, we are doing with ocean, rail, and trucking. So that is it about TWIL. Thank you so much for listening out for us. I'll be happy to take our questions in the lunch timings. And please feel free, and we'll be very excited if you visit our website, which is twil.net, to explore more. And thank you so much again. Thank you.
I know how it is. So I think Ajit is going to come back, and Ajit has promised me 7 minutes before I leave it to the question. But I think the question that comes up is that in this world of digitalization, how quickly can you turn around a rate request? Because if you look at a freight forwarding industry, we were taking probably 2 days or 3 days even to turn around it. But since I've been a part of a digital journey, same as TWIL, but to a very larger extent, 7 seconds is what it takes for us to process a rate request and give a quotation back today with current, complete, competitive in all respects, because the systems, algorithms actually pick up the lowest if you want, or you can price it based on it, is how the systems are actually getting there. And you can also get to a situation where today in the first panel they were talking about the payment gateway from a government standpoint. The current gateways, you can pay credit card and get a credit instantly. You can put your PAN card and get a credit in 30 seconds. Technically, it gets processed. And there's a help desk that works 24/7, which is robotic in nature, where it uses NLP in terms of which language you want to speak, and then it is automated. So I think it's very critical for us to understand that the world is really moving quite fast, but how will India adopt is a different question, because that's a different subject that we will discuss a little later. So over to you, Ajit.
me share an anecdote with you while we wait. Just a joke on digitization. We have this parking facility in Doha, Qatar, where you put a finger and the parking gate opens. So I went for that and I put my finger and it worked very well. And IT guy with a backpack, headphones, and he said 2411. I said, what's 2411? So he said, should something happen to your finger, remember this number, I can configure the other finger.
So I think I have the unenviable task of holding everybody back before lunch. So anyway, I'll try and make this very quick. Just wanted to sort of give a brief view of what delivery is, because many of you may not be familiar. We were incidentally born with exactly this vision of basically digitizing cargo and e-commerce shipment movement. And this is where we are today. The reason I'm running through this is I think we can quickly get a sense of what delivery does today. That will flow very easily into the presentation that I have. So yeah, I think just sort of like I was saying, the topic of this forum is really interesting for us because we started almost exactly 10 years back, and the only reason we started was because we felt that the usage of IT, and when I say IT, in a very broad context, the usage of new age technology in logistics was very poor. Delivery hence started as an initiative by a young group of people who had no exposure to the logistics industry but went with a single vision, which was to say that what will bring more visibility, what will bring more reliability, and what will bring more efficiency to this industry is the usage of technology. Technology in its various facets, to start off with technology as the backbone of tracking in the movement of cargo, the movement of parcels, but equally important, technology in terms of the data it generates and the way you can use that data to generate more reliability, efficiency, and visibility for the client. We started off serving the e-commerce industry. Today we are India's largest e-commerce logistics operator. Close to about 1 in 4 parcels in Indian e-commerce goes through delivery before it reaches an end customer. We also diversified from e-commerce into the larger B2B world over the last few years, and we're seeing increasing success in that. All of my friends here in the panel have spoken a lot about digitization, how we are doing digitization, etc. I think the specific topic that I wanted to take on here, given the confluence of people from across the industry, we have people here from the airline side, we have people here from the terminal side, we have people here from the infrastructure, the airport side. I think what I wanted to do over the next 2-3 minutes is to take our view at it, which is we are here as a client for this industry. We today move close to about 3,000 to 3,500 tons of load every month, but purely domestically, and all of this is, we do not act as an aggregator per se. This is all loads that we ourselves generate where we do the end-to-end movement, right? So we do the pickup to delivery. When we look at air cargo, right, for us air cargo is one of the several modes of transport that we use. So in some sense, my views here are a little bit sort of, more focused on cargo itself rather than just air cargo and what part air cargo plays there. When we look at air cargo, for the same movement through air versus surface or rail, customers end up paying anywhere between 5x and 10x of the amount that you would otherwise incur on the surface side, right? The question is why they should be paying that premium, right? Ultimately, the answer lies in three aspects, which is the speed, the reliability, and the tracking. And that is where I guess I just wanted to show a comparison of where the industry is today, and what do we need to do as an industry to change this, right? Digitization obviously is one of the key factors that will change this. Equally, there's a whole lot of things around the infrastructure, around the processes side, which we also need to change to be more competitive in the future. Today, if I were to compare just how a shipment moves, right? If you are a recipient of a shipment and you're sitting in, let's say, Bombay and ordering a shipment which has to move from the outskirts. So I went for that and put my finger and it was very well. And IT guy with a backpack, headphones.
And he said, 2411. I said, what's 2411? So he said, should something happen to your finger, remember this number, I can configure the other finger.
So I think I have the unenviable task of holding everybody back before lunch. So anyway, I'll try and make this very quick. Just wanted to sort of give a brief view of what delivery is, because many of you may not be familiar. We were incidentally born with exactly this vision of basically digitizing cargo and e-commerce shipment movement. And this is where we are today. The reason I'm running through this is I think we can quickly get a sense of what delivery does today. That will flow very easily into the presentation that I have. So yeah, I think just sort of like I was saying, the topic of this forum is really interesting for us because we started almost exactly 10 years back, and the only reason we started was because we felt that the usage of IT, and when I say IT, in a very broad context, the usage of new age technology in logistics was very poor. Delivery hence started as an initiative by a young group of people who had no exposure to the logistics industry, but went with a single vision, which was to say that what will bring more visibility, what will bring more reliability, and what will bring more efficiency to this industry is the usage of technology. Technology in its various facets, to start off with technology as the backbone of tracking in the movement of cargo, the movement of parcels, but equally important, technology in terms of the data it generates and the way you can use that data to generate more reliability, efficiency, and visibility for the client. We started off serving the e-commerce industry. Today we are India's largest e-commerce logistics operator. Close to about 1 in 4 parcels in Indian e-commerce goes through delivery before it reaches an end customer. We also diversified from e-commerce into the larger B2B world over the last few years, and we're seeing increasing success in that. All of my friends here in the panel have spoken a lot about digitization, how we are doing digitization, etc. I think the specific topic that I wanted to take on here, given the confluence of people from across the industry, we have people here from the airline side, we have people here from the terminal side, we have people here from the infrastructure, the airport side. I think what I wanted to do over the next 2-3 minutes is to take our view at it, which is we are here as a client for this industry. We today move close to about 3,000 to 3,500 tons of load every month, but purely domestically, and all of this is, we do not act as an aggregator per se. This is all loads that we ourselves generate where we do the end-to-end movement, right? So we do the pickup to delivery. When we look at air cargo, right, for us air cargo is one of the several modes of transport that we use. So in some sense, my views here are a little bit sort of, more focused on cargo itself rather than just air cargo and what part air cargo plays there. When we look at air cargo, for the same movement through air versus surface or rail, customers end up paying anywhere between 5x and 10x of the amount that you would otherwise incur on the surface side, right? The question is why they should be paying that premium, right? Ultimately, the answer lies in three aspects, which is the speed, the reliability, and the tracking. And that is where I guess I just wanted to show a comparison of where the industry is today, and what do we need to do as an industry to change this, right? Digitization obviously is one of the key factors that will change this. Equally, there's a whole lot of things around the infrastructure, around the processes side, which we also need to change to be more competitive in the future. Today, if I were to compare just how a shipment moves, right? If you are a recipient of a shipment and you're sitting in, let's say, Bombay and ordering a shipment which has to move from the outskirts of Delhi where there are big warehouses, here's how the journey is right now if it moves via air cargo, right? Essentially, for something that is ordered maybe at 8 p.m. in the night, if I were to dispatch it at 10 p.m. In the night from the outskirts of Delhi, the earliest that it can arrive at a hub which is close to you, if everything works exactly in clockwork precision, is probably 10:15 in the morning in Delhi, right? Now just compare this with how I as a passenger would move and get my luggage, right? To take the same 5 a.m. flight, I would leave my house at probably 3 or 3:30 a.m., right? And I would reach Bombay at 7:15. By 7:45, I'll be out of the airport with my luggage, right? The big challenge for us in the air cargo industry is to figure out how do we make the cargo experience similar to the passenger experience. Today, that is not the case for various reasons, right? Load has to be tendered 5 hours in advance. Why? Right? I think we should be asking ourselves this question. What is it that we are doing that for the same plane, the load that goes in as cargo has to be tendered 5 hours in advance when a passenger can reach 45 minutes before the flight and take that flight and get down and get out of the airport in half an hour with his luggage, right? To my mind, this is the largest question that we need to ask ourselves. I'm focusing here on the domestic side because I think domestic cargo is something which is typically in most discussions neglected. I think the focus ends up being largely on international cargo because it is also an important element of trade. But equally, I think if we have to make domestic cargo viable, this is one of the things that we really need to think about. And why we need to think about it is because all of the other modes of transport are catching up very fast on the time advantage that air has, right? The government is now talking of the DFC is going to be a reality between Delhi and Bombay. The Delhi-Mumbai expressway is going to cut down travel time significantly, which essentially means that if the air industry does not really catch up, and as an industry, if all of us do not catch up to getting that reliability and the speed, I think we are in for a time when people will not be willing to pay the premium that they're paying today. What are the avenues that we have to change this? I think currently some of the issues that we see very clearly are dwell time at the airports, the entry restriction movement for air cargo movements, etc. The reason I bring this up in this conference, and more so in a forum where we are talking about digitization, is that a whole lot of these issues today exist because data does not flow between all of the participants in this ecosystem, and hence every single participant takes time at their point to actually understand the data, to do the handover, to do the incoming, and then move it on to another system. What we need is essentially an interconnected sort of system where all of the information with regard to these shipments flows digitally, and the actual physical movement hence does not require the dwell that it currently undergoes. I think we all of us are aware of what it takes to bring reliability into the system. I think the key element for us is for all of us, which is the airlines, the terminals, clients like us, or what I would call as consigners, to work together to create a system where this, work together to create a set of systems where essentially, whether it is about load allocation, whether it is about movement into the airport, movement into the plane, movement out of the plane, and sort of its movement to the end customer, all of this is available digitally, and all of the transactions happen digitally while the physical movement happens on the side. Tracking today is still, in terms of domestic cargo, even today a piece level tracking is not really available in domestic cargo. The only reason this is the case is because all of us have not gotten together and said that we want this to be done. So I think broadly, before I end this, I think I will come with a simple message for the industry as a client of the industry and as a participant in this industry. What the air cargo industry, at least the domestic part of it in India, needs is a huge dose of digitization, and importantly, it needs to evolve to stay ahead and be able to compete with the changes that are happening on the other modes of travel. Thanks.
Ajit, thank you so much for actually bringing in some very important aspects in respect of the domestic cargo. Just to tell you that when we started in domestic cargo, the airway bill was written by the hand. And I was one among those who probably would have gone through a domestic cargo course separately from a basic cargo of IATA. We were the last on the priority, so nothing has changed. While we are speaking now, one of our customers is struggling to ship 2 cars for Auto Expo from Chennai, not knowing what to know, and people are giving him multiple ideas. Is send it into Doha and bring it into Delhi, because we can't get an aircraft now to ship it from Delhi to Chennai. So there's someone else giving him an idea that take it to some other airport and we'll start finding an aircraft in the way. So the domestic challenge in the last 30 years has not changed, and I think it's a most neglected part of our organizations as well, because cargo industry was already in the past not the best of it. It was the airline air hostess who would get priority over the cargo agents truly. So I think we recognize the aspect that domestic digitalization is very important for the fact that I think the consumption in the world is in India. The people's buying capacities in India have gone up so drastically that if you speak to my child today, he says Swiggy or Zomato, he never talks about what restaurant or what it is. So I think we're going through a really important phase. If Yash permits, yes, we do have for 2 questions. Okay, so I promise that whoever wants can raise their hand, identify themselves, unless if someone is hungry. Okay, I got Sunil back, so can someone pass mic to Sunil quickly?
Thank you, Satish. My question is to Mr. Ajit. Mr. Ajit, you talked about performances, deliverance, on time, problems, hindrances, about how you're managing issues with delivery. But I would like to know, with respect to the subject, what is the digitization penetration with delivery vis-a-vis other organizations doing the same business? And what percentage of capex or your turnover do you incline to budget for the digitization process in this year or the years ahead? How do you cope up with digitalization in your organization? That is what I would like to know on delivery aspect.
Yeah, so I chose not to speak too much about delivery because I wanted to make it more about the industry. But to your question, in delivery, whenever we talk about creating capacity, we do not talk about how many warehouses we are going to have. We do not talk about how many, what square footage of hubs we will have, or what capex we will spend, right? Our capex, for this year, for example, for the upcoming financial year, is about $80 million roughly. But I think we spent about 1 hour between me and the CEO and the CFO in discussing it, right? We spend the maximum amount of time figuring out how we will create capacity to build systems faster, how we will create capacity in terms of bringing on board people who can create these systems faster, and where these people can be brought from, right?
Mr. Ajit, my question is about investing into technology.
I'm coming to that.
Investing into digitalization.
I'm coming exactly to that, right? The reason why, so I think at delivery what we do is to take a tech first approach, which is to say that if I have to do something over the next couple of years, first, what is it that I need to build in terms of the systems, right? And what is it, every single constraint in terms of what I can build is related to how fast can I get the system up and running, right? So to give you an example of what that means for us in reality, today we have a total corporate staff of close to about 1,200 people spread across 4 cities. And I'm talking about the corporate staff. This is not people who are in the warehouses, etc. Of that, a full 1/3 of that staff is people who are actually building systems, right? To the way of thinking about what is an investment is very different in today's world versus what it was 5 years back. 5 years back, I think we would talk more about, how much capex are you going to put in, how many warehouses you're going to put in. Today, that part is much more easily done, right? The big thing is about how do you build capacity to create that digitization journey, right? So from our perspective as delivery, and which I would assume today most players who are looking into the future would look into, it is all about creating the capacity to be able to build systems fast, because that's the single biggest constraint on how fast you can grow. I hope that answers your question.
We have Renu Parmarji. Would you like to come over, please? Thank you.
Can we start with Kunal, but to move a little forward? A big round of applause, please. Mr. Ajit Pai from Delivery. Anisha Bharadwaj from AP Mollo. And can I request my friend from Indonesia, Mr. Denny? Thank you.
Can we give one to Satish as well? Thank you, Satish, for a great moderation. Thank you very much. Thank you, lovely panel. We get a quick picture here with you, all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, while they get set for the picture, are you set for Kahoot? Are you set? Good. The likes it. Can we get the Kahoot presentation back on just for a second? Thank you very much, panel. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now use an e-tool called Kahoot to conduct a quick quiz. The idea is to find out how many of you were sleeping, how many of you were on WhatsApp, and how many of you were actually attentive listening to the presenters. So whoever is not able to answer any of the questions pays for the lunch. So beware, we are tracking you. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run a 7-question Kahoot. Each question only takes 10 minutes. So we will get you for lunch in 70 minutes. I hope that's fine. That's fine, right? Nobody's talking, no one's hungry. Good, I like it. So ladies and gentlemen, it'll be quick, 30 seconds per question. Fastest fingers wins. Can we get the presentation? The Kahoot presentation? Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, you got 2 ways of getting onto it. Either you get onto your browser and type https://kahoot.it. That's your option number 1. The second one is you download an app called Kahoot. The second one is you download an app in your Play Store called Kahoot. Have we done it? All of you? Remember, the one who's not going to play will pay for lunch. Next step, choose a nice nickname for yourself, something you wanted everybody to call you. A tiger, a lion, a lioness, a C or a D or an A or a B, whatever you like. Oh, sorry, of course. Enter the pin. So we will give you a pin. It's just a mock that I am telling you. I will give you a pin. And thirdly, you will choose a nickname. Let's start. Let's start. You will, of course, lastly see the questions on the screen, and you will need to choose an icon, and that is your right answer. Fastest person wins. Can we get the pin? Can we get the pin? It is online. Jayant is helping me here. Thank you, Jayant. Are we online? Here we go. You're going to get the pin on the screen. That was nice. The lunch is broken. You're not going to get lunch. Ready to join, ladies and gentlemen. There goes the pin. There goes the pin. 2727588. 2727588. This is not Tambola. Kahoot. And here we go. We see people joining in. Put in your nicknames. All these are nicknames, people joining in. Wow. 34, 36. 41 players already. 46, 48. Not bad. We're going fast. 53. 57, these are people who will not pay for lunch. 63, 63. I think ACFI is going to make money because each one's going to pay for the entire lunch. 62, somebody exited. So we have car goes to, sun, Deepak, how boring. PKK is interesting. We have a scorpion, we have a tiger, we have Sher, Vix, Hemi, Johnny. Nice, lion, vibes. Interesting names. 66. Come on guys, I see more than 66 people here. 66. Somebody logged in, logged out. Evo, you're going to pay for lunch. Play. Dil. Somebody's joined as Dil. Bhim. 69. Dharam. Dharam Paji. Shaggy. I like the name. Shaggy. 70. GD. Thakur. Thakur. Jay, Viru, where are you? Basanti? Come on, John. That's a very, very weird name. Never heard a name called John. I see him there. Gorgeous heart, I like it. Gorgeous heart. Hi. I hope you're a woman. Hi. 76. Should we get going, guys? Should we get going? Are you hungry? Somebody said yes, finally. Baba. Baba. Little Baba. All right. Should we get ahead? Final 30 seconds for anybody to log in. 30 seconds and we go on. ABCD. Nice. XYZ. KLM. Not KLM, sorry. That's a carrier. I think that's it. So 75 people ready to play. Jayant, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's hit it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to now come up with a question. Remember, fastest one wins. We have 8 questions now. The first one is mock. The question is, who is the president of ACFI? You have 4 icons, 4 chances, 4 colors to win. Tushar K. Jani, Tushar Kapoor, Tushar Luthra, and again Tushar M. Jani. This is a mock question, but it gives marks. Mr. Tushar Jani, I hope you know your name. 30 seconds. Time's up. The correct answer was 47. Mr. Jani, is it the right answer? Brilliant. Let's see what the scores are. Who played? Thank God. And SKB would have been the winner if this was not a mock question. All right, Smarty 0031, Kurt 1881. What name is Kurt? Somebody is virgin. Let's go ahead, guys. Come on, next one. What is BVLOS? BVLOS. What is BVLOS? Before virtual line of sight, before visual line of sight, beyond virtual line of sight, beyond visual line of sight. Anybody who is not listening to Amber, you're dead. Come on, fastest fingers first. We got 70 right answers already. 1 second to go, time's up. And the right answer is beyond visual line of sight. We don't have Amber here, so we'll deem it to be the right answer. Scores, please. The scores, AK is winning. AK 47, 56, 100, whatever it is winning with 1,045 points. Manu second, Maddie third, ABCD, and followed by John. Let's hit the next one. What is the digital platform used by Qatar Airways? This question was part of the presentation from Emirates. Qatar? Why is Qatar asking Qatar question? All right. The 4 options. Chromis, Crombie, Chroma, or Chrome. You got 4. Hit it. Kunal, you better win this, huh? I'm sending this to Al Bakr. And the right answer is Croamis. Kunal, is that right? Bala, is that right? Thank God. Who are the winners so far? Maddie moves in to number 1, 2172, Cargo Guy. Cargo Guy, 2118. ABCD still in the race, 2115. Harry or Hurry, Glad C. Glad C, I like the name. Reds, are we enjoying? Lovely? Who's lovely? Next question, please. APECI handles how many airports in Indonesia? This was part of the presentation by Shanghai Airport. So I hope Danny did not have to read into his presentation to answer this question. We have 70 answers, 71 answers, 10 seconds to go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Sorry, I'm faster than the clock. 0. And the right answer is 19. Wow. Wow, 19. Danny is the right answer. Where are you? He's gone to see the PPT. All right, let's see who is leading now. A, B, C, D. 3288 points. Glad C moves up. 3244. Da Boss. Mr. Ram and Manish. Absolutely new set of players right up there. People are catching up. Let's hit it. Next one. What are the 4 C's? 4 C's in a D conference. What are the 4 C's for air cargo's digital transformation? Collaborate, cooperate, challenge, change. Collaborate, customer, challenge, change. Co-create, complete, challenge, change. Challenge, change, customer, cargo. You have to answer about the C's in a conference of D for digital. The first one, collaborate, co-create, challenge, and change is the right answer. Let's see the winners. Da Boss. Da Boss. I likes it. Da Boss, followed by ABCD, Ram, Shan, and Munish. Great going, guys. 4,908. I think people are going to find to catch up. Let's hit it. Next one. Guys, very few to go. When was IGRUA campus set up in America? I mean in Amethi. 2014, 2009, 2012, 2010, and the next is 2030. Answer. You have 12 seconds to go. 65 answers, 67 answers, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The right answer is 2012. That's the time ACFI was also formed. Something to go with. Let's see the scores. ABCD. ABCD. 5863. Ram. The boss has fallen behind. Tiger. Ayer. Who's Ayer? All right, 5,863. Come on, guys. How many questions to go? 2 more. You can still make it. Still make it. Twill is available in how many languages? Is it available in Punjabi, Gurmukhi, or Punjabi, or Gurmukhi? So 30, 35, 28, or 25. 4 options. I hope the Twill lady remembers the right answer. Winners, please, Jayant. A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, 5863, Da Boss. Ram, Romeo, 702 comes on the screen. Romeo, Machli. Machli jal ki rani hai, nice. Hey, Machli, I like you. Okay. The last and the final question. If you answer it wrong, you pay. Delivery moves 3,000 to 4,000 tons every month. Where to? Domestically, internationally, in Europe or Southeast Asia? I hope Ajit knows the answer. 72 answers already. Wow. I think everybody knew the answer. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are going to get the winner on the screen. The answer is domestically. 3,000 to 4,000 tons. Domestically is what delivery moves. And the right answer, the winners, wait. Okay, no wait. Number 3, we have Romeo 702. Number 2, the boss. And 6820 points. Number 1, ABCD. Who is ABCD? Baji, tusi school gaye si, hun pata lag gaya sanu. Very nice. Can we have you over, please? Can we have the runner-up, the boss and ABCD? Who's the boss? The boss, of course, of course. Toss ka boss. Toss ka boss. Kunal will remember all the tosses we did at when we played cricket together. Can I request Cyrus to come over and give them a handshake? That's all that they get for winning. Honestly, they'll get a handshake only. Come on, you're not getting anything. Give them a hug. That's all you get in digital world, huh? It's not a materialistic world. We'll give you digitally, we'll get you a voucher for lunch, for breakfast, and we'll get you a voucher for dinner. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. We're going to have another Kahoot after the business session too, and we'll see the winner.